All right, Joe, how are you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good. Twisted Metal's finally coming out. I got a chance to watch the series. You're a little bit familiar with vehicular combat. You were once kidnapped by a van full of ninjas in
Mhm.
TNA, so I think it's kind of similar. Uh, we beat a lot of groups in Twisted Metal, so I'm going to stay talking about TNA. How would the Nation of Violence fare in this post-apocalyptic world?
He'd do absolutely fantastic. I think he definitely would get the assignment right. He'd find himself a fantastic vehicle and wreak carnage everywhere that he went. I mean, it's in the name. I think it'd work out really well.
As far as the ninjas go, where do you think they're at in all of this?
So they were all disposed of quite a long time ago. I don't know what really has become of them, but I mean, it would be interesting to see how they would do. I mean, you haven't seen them since, have you? But you've seen me. I think we all know what happened to the ninjas. I mean, we don't talk about it much because obviously, you just don't talk about things like that. But the ninjas were dispatched and taken care of.
I was just going with a hypothetical situation.
Oh no, no,
So
no! This is a very real situation that you brought up, sir, and it was dressed and handled accordingly.
I know you've addressed it. I'm just saying, hey, what would happen? But let's get back to talking about Sweet Tooth. You play the physical embodiment of the character. You do so much work with your promos, your facial expressions and mannerisms, but you're behind a mask for this show. What kind of challenges did it sort of present as far as having to act wearing the mask and also have Will Arnett play, do the voice work for that
I think
role?
I think when you talk about mass, especially, I think pro wrestlers are uniquely positioned to do better in those type of situations. Oddly enough, simply because for the most part, wrestlers are trained to emote out beyond themselves, especially luchadors. They're trained to emote beyond the mask. You look at Jushin Thunder Liger; he's probably one of the most expressive wrestlers in the history of our industry, covered head to toe. So it's just there's an innate ability for a lot of us as performers to be able to pull off physical performances, especially when you have limited facial ability.
Mhm. One of the appealing things about this show is the soundtrack. I really felt transported back in time almost because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these songs that I heard, I grew up listening to like in high school or early college years. Uh, Tony's been getting some pretty cool licensed tracks. We just saw Final Countdown at uh, Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, getting my events crossed. Forbidden Door. Uh, do you have a song on your wish list? Maybe it's for yourself or another performer that you really feel like would highlight the in-ring presentation a little bit more?
It's tough, man. I think obviously, having music that people are familiar with, especially as an entrance, is tremendously effective. It's fun. People like to see it. Uh, I've always kind of felt though at the same time too, you kind of lose a little bit of your own identity and you lose it a little bit to the music. So, I'm a bit of a bigger fan of themes for guys as opposed to commercial music being used. I think just for that aspect where it's really cool and I think you can bring a great reaction out of a crowd, but maybe not necessarily for me. It focuses on the right things.
The last time we spoke, we were promoting AEW going to Dayton, Ohio. We talked a little bit about your history with CM Punk in Ring of Honor and Sweet Tooth. We find him in Las Vegas. I was surprised to see that you actually haven't had too many matches in Las Vegas. I think the last one was last year's Owen Hart tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do you have maybe a moment or a favorite memory of just your in ring career in Vegas that maybe wasn't part of a match, but just
I mean, I have a lot of favorite moments in Vegas, none of which I probably should give in this interview. But yeah, I mean, Vegas is a really really fun town, especially in the sense of when you talk about one of the combat capitals of the world. It's Las Vegas. I mean, some of the biggest fights in the history of definitely my generation have occurred in Vegas, and I mean, its entertainment chops are really second to none when it comes to town. So, um, you know, match wise, I don't think I really have anything too memorable. I just remember always having a great time with the Vegas crowd and the fans that we had there.
all right, fair enough. Thanks for your time today. I encourage everybody to go check out Twisted Metal. You were great in this role. It's a really fun show. It feels like a wacky sort of adventure of the week every week. It's violent, bloody, uh, funny. So any closing thoughts as far as what you want
I,
fans to
I
take away from the show really quick?
I just really hope fans, get a chance to check out the show and enjoy it. I think it's definitely a fun watch, and uh, all the way through. And I just look forward to seeing what everybody thinks.